My name is Diana. I am 31 years old. I am married. My husband's name is Harold. He is 37 years old. We have been married for 6 years. We have a son. His name is Jamie. He is 4 years old. We live in a small apartment. My husband, Harold, worked at a construction company. He worked hard every day, but he did not earn much money. His salary paid our rent, our bills, and our food, but nothing more. We never bought new clothes. We never ate at a restaurant. We never had extra money. Still, I felt safe because his job was steady. Then one day, Harold told me he would get a promotion soon. He said, "My boss told me I will get a promotion next month." We were so happy. His salary would increase, and we will have extra money. I thought about buying a new dress. I thought about a small celebration for our son's birthday. I thought our life might change a little. But 2 weeks later, Harold came home with a serious face. I felt worried. I said, "What's wrong, Harold? What happened?" He sat down and said, "They let me go." I did not understand at first. I said, "What do you mean?" He put his head in his hands. He said, "The company is closing some offices. They said there is no work. They fired me." My heart stopped. I looked at my husband. His eyes filled with tears. I held his hand and hugged him. I told Harold he will find a new job soon, but inside, I was very scared. We had a little saving, but there were many expenses. We had to pay rent, bills, and our son's school fees. I felt lost. That night, I could not sleep. I tried not to cry in front of my husband so he wouldn't feel weak. The next day, Harold woke up early. He began to look for work. He sent CVS. He looked at websites and applied everywhere. He went to interviews. He came home tired and quiet. I said, "Did you get the job?" He said, "No, not yet." Weeks passed. The savings became smaller. We cut things more. I cooked cheaper food. We ate one meal for 2 days. I stopped buying even small things for myself. My son needed new shoes. I fixed his old ones. I sold my ring to pay the rent and the bills. One day, my friend came to my house. She said, "You cook good food, Diana. Why don't you try selling it online?" I thought about her idea and told Harold. He said, "You don't need to work, my love. You already do too much. I will find a job very soon. Don't worry about money." I could see that he was upset. I told him this would help us a little until he finds a new job. He said, "Okay." I took pictures of my food and posted online. At first, I got 2 orders a week, then a few more. The money came slowly. It paid for our groceries, but it did not replace a salary. I had to ask my mother for some money to pay for our son's school fees. After 2 months, I was tired. I cleaned the house, made food, washed dishes. I had to take care of my son and put him to sleep too. Harold would sit and watch TV or try to find a job. He tried his best. I know he did. But the months felt long. One night, after a bad day of no orders and a call from the landlord, I heard my son crying in his room. I was cooking and my hands were burning from the hot oil. My eyes felt heavy. Harold walked in. I looked at him and said, What are you doing? You promised you would find something. I work all day. I sell food. I feed this house. And I am still the one worrying about everything. I am tired." He did not shout back. He stood there and said, "I'm trying, Diana. I am trying." His face was sad. He sounded like a man who had nothing left to give. I felt angry because everything was on my shoulders. I felt ashamed because I shouted. I saw the way he looked at the floor. Harold left the room and sat on the stairs outside. I could see him from the window. He looked hurt. I did not want to break him. I wanted him to wake up. The next morning, we both said sorry. I said, "I'm sorry for shouting. I was just scared." Harold said, "You were right, Diana. I should do more." That day, Harold did something different. He started to apply without waiting for the perfect job. He called small companies. He went to a restaurant to work as a cleaner. He also applied for a taxi job. Still, weeks went by and he did not get a call. Sometimes Harold came home after an interview and said, "They like me, but they will call later." I smiled and said, "Try again tomorrow." Then one morning, his phone rang. It was for a job interview, but Harold was not happy. He looked nervous. He almost said he could not go. He said, "What if they say no? What if I go and they laugh?" He looked like a man who had already lost many times and was afraid to face another no. I held his hand and said, "Go, Harold. Even if it is small, go." He tried to say he could not, but I pushed his coat into his hands. He finally left. I locked the door and sat on the floor and waited. I made a list in my mind. I planned what I would say if he did not get it. I planned how many orders I could take. I did not sleep well. 3 hours later, he came back. He looked tired. My heart beat fast. I understood that he did not get the job. Then suddenly he smiled and said, "They gave me the job, Diana. It starts next week." I felt so happy. My eyes filled with tears. The job was not the promotion he wanted. It was not the salary he once had. It was a small factory that needed a man who would learn the work, but it was honest work. It meant money would come each month. I said to him, "It is not the life we wanted, but it is our life now. We will make it work." He smiled and said, "Thank you for believing in me." Our life did not change in a day. We still checked prices at the market. We still counted coins for our son's shoes. We still took orders for my food business. But now the worry was shared. Harold learned new things at work. 1 month later, with little money, I bought a simple dress for myself. It was cheap, but when I put it on, I felt like a woman again. Sometimes Harold would come home after a long day, and we would argue about money, but the arguments did not feel like the hardest part of our life anymore. They were short and we fixed them. We began to speak more. One evening, Harold said, "I was ashamed to tell you everything." I said, "Do not be. You're my husband. We are a family. We will be honest. Life can be hard, but working together and supporting each other makes life easier. Small efforts can help a family stay strong and find hope again. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.